Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope you all had a very awesome weekend. I know a lot of places throughout at least the U.S., I can't speak for other parts of the world, have opened up or started to reopen very slowly, or some people a little aggressively, and with consequences of doing a kind of an aggressive reopening. Hey, good morning, Nam. But I'm hoping you guys had a very good weekend and you guys are still being safe. I know there's a lot of misinformation and truthful information, and you have friends, family, you have internet people, YouTubers, everything, and media, social media, and regular news out there just giving you all sorts of bunk information or confusing information. You don't know who to believe. Here's one thing that you guys can do. The one thing, surefire thing that you can do that's not going to hurt you and will let you still go out and do all the things that you want to do. You can still be defiant and whatever. Just do the social distancing. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt you at all. And wash your hands like you should be. Have some hand sanitizer and, have a face mask when you're out in public, especially if you got the sniffles. You know what to do. It's not that hard. So just take that into consideration. Like he said there, trust in the Silent King. Good day. I'm hoping you are having a good day wherever you're at in the world. So the reason why I'm bringing up all the different debunking and all the different information and everything is because there's a lot of information flowing out there regarding Warhammer 40,000, especially after a bit of a bombshell that Games Workshop dropped yesterday concerning, I think it was yesterday. Let me check my little notes here. I'm pretty sure it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, the 17th. About a big announcement coming on the 23rd. Well, they were already talking about that. We already knew there was going to be an announcement, but this announcement is strictly for Warhammer 40,000, and it is a big preview online that they're going to do. If you guys will remember, just recently, we've had 3 big previews from them that were supposed to be at Adepticon. This could, in a way, probably, I would not be surprised in a way that this was supposed to be a part of that release. But that's just I don't want to say it's a conspiracy theory. I think that's just like a working theory, thought project, whatever you want to call. So, but that's not the point to this. The point is that there's a lot of bad information out there, and I'm going to tell you all right now, the only people that truly know what is going on. Hey, good morning, Grandpa Strange. The only people that truly know what's going on are the Games Workshop employees. And I have one contact that has information. They cannot reveal it. So but they said, I was talking about this last week that, hey, on Friday and then, hey, maybe on Saturday, I should be getting an email saying, hey, this is what's coming on the 23rd. I got was that there's going to be a big, and Alfarius, yeah, there's going to be a big announcement next week, which I'm like, well, I figured that because there was the whole video at the Silent King, but then come around Sunday morning, hey, boom, there you go, big reveal on May 23rd, which we figured, but we didn't realize that they would advertise it in an online reveal show. So sucks that they couldn't pass on, and I didn't press the reason why, because the way I have to look at it is, if somebody's providing me insider information, that insider information, I can't push too much because they're being very generous and being very kind of really risking their job if they're not allowed to officially pass on information. So I want to push, but I can't. And yes, it's an announcement for an announcement. The week prior, Nam, was, hey, there's something, here's the Silent King. I think that was on the previous Sunday. So what was that, the 11th, 10th or 11th? Hey, Silent King storyline coming on May 23rd. We're like, oh, okay, cool. People were like, oh, it's going to be the Silent King miniature and other weird Oh God, weird stuff. Primaries Necrons. Oh, my brain's already hurting thinking about this. Can you get like, that what was it, the freeze brain or brain freeze from, and not even having like ice cream or something? Because I just got that thinking about the silly Primaris Necron models that was passing around. It got the subreddit or the Reddit. I don't even understand Reddit too much, so forgive me, but it's gone. It does not exist anymore. So it's just really weird. Anyways, so what is happening? What is coming this week? Well, I did just a little bit of research and talked to a couple other individuals, and we're all pretty sure that yes, this is going to be a new edition. Do we have proof? No. But yeah, Primaris Necrons. I'm not kidding. They took those before I delve into this. Let me see if I can pull it up. I need to push this up here. They were basing it on. Let's see if we can find the imagery here. Sorry, I should have thought about this. Where did the Silent King thing go? Gosh darn it. Oh well. Anyways, in the video for the Silent King, they were talking about, or there was some not pictographs, but hieroglyphics that showed these big, beefy Necrons with looked like they're war scythes, and that people jumped on it. I don't know if it was a joke or some people thought it was serious, but I'm pretty sure that there are some people out there, probably some 13-year-old that's like, oh yeah, I talked to my Games Workshop friend. He runs a store, and he said that there's going to be Primaris Necrons that they're going to turn, which could be true. Very small percentage chance. Because I like to say there's always a possibility. It's never impossible. It's just highly improbable. Highly improbable. So what? Let me show you a little bit of some research here. I don't know if you're not able to see it on screen because you're listening to it on your headphones or whatever you're driving. I know a couple people do that. So what we got here is the past 5 editions, fifth through, past 4 editions, but I'm including 9th edition. So 5th edition, couldn't find the original announcement date, but it was released June 2008. And 6th edition was announced May 2012 and then released June of 2012. So only a 4-year gap there. 7th edition, right on the heels of 6, which it's hard to say if that was 6.5, but we just call it, they called it 7th, we called it 7th. May 24th it was announced, and then it was released 2 weeks later still in May of 2014. And then 1 week later, 2 weeks later. Then 8th edition was announced 3 years later, May 23rd, okay? May 23rd of 2017. May 23rd, 2017. And then released July 2017. And as of right now, 8th edition is really considered probably one of the best editions since maybe 4th edition. 4th edition was wildly popular, even though there were some issues with it. A lot of people still talk about 4th edition. 5th edition was kind of bland. It was a little too bland. And then 6th edition was like, ooh, this is a big direction. 7th edition, huge. Oh my God, my brain even, there's that brain freeze again. Thinking about that 7th edition was a nightmare. And then, of course, 8th edition being really kind of now the gold standard for playing Warhammer 40,000, just like Age of Sigmar has kind of revolutionized Warhammer Fantasy Battle. There's people that hate it and there's people that like it. A lot of those haters that burnt their armies literally on YouTube videos have come back, and they're actually playing Age of Sigmar now. It's actually got a lot better than its very horrible initial release, a very bad release. It was That first year and a half was really bad. It wasn't until the General's Handbook came out, but I digress. So, what's happening this year, 2020, May 23rd, 2020, we're going to get some sort of big announcement for Warhammer 40,000. So what is that going to be? Well, we're pretty sure it's going to be 9th edition. We don't think it has anything to do with Pariah, because if it was to do with Pariah, they would be putting some reveal. It would basically be a big Pariah reveal, which we've already had our big Pariah reveal, our biggest one, with the Illuminor Caesar, and I might be butchering that name, so please don't send Necron warriors after me. The super awesome narrator Inquisitor, I can't remember her name, but the gal with the awesome looking armor and that power fist and the little Lockheed dragon from like X-Men, and then also the awesome Ethereal Stern, and what's his name, the Harlequin, the Pariah, the actual Pariah. So I don't, and I know a lot of the other people like Kirioth, Chapter Master Valric, Gary over at Fate 212. We don't think it's going to be about Pariah. It's going to be about a new edition. The timing is right. If you look at the timing of those dates, they're all within 2 to 3 years of each other, with the exception of 5th edition into 6th edition. That's about a 4-year gap. But you can see that those gaps have relatively been within 2 to 3 years. So it could be Return of the Emperor. There's some people that believe that could be the thing that's happening. There's a little bit of talk about that this could be this new edition, and I think it's just people are capitalizing on Age of Sigmar, and they're calling this they're trying to call this the Age of the Emperor, and this could be the Return of the Emperor, and he rises back up. He's ready to start his conquest of the galaxy, whatnot. I think that storyline is going on, and they're finally bringing that massive, convoluted storyline from so many different authors over the span of Warhammer 40,000 since the first book, the Inquisitor War, or the Inquisition War, with Inquisitor Draco, where him and an assassin, a navigator, and a squat actually, the two of the Emperor's Sigmar, where they're actually are able to sneak into the Imperial Palace, into the throne room, and Draco actually carries on a conversation with the Emperor. And we learn about the Sensei, who are like the children of the Emperor, the sons of the Emperor, that are out and about, and they're trying to make their way back so they could resurrect the Emperor or something. I mean, there's so many different storylines that have been abandoned or retconned that who knows what's going to happen. But there is some indication that storyline wise that the Emperor is stirring. This whole Psychic Awakening is a good example. Now, will that be this initial payoff? It's possible. I don't think it's probable. I think what we're going to see is a continued big bad happening. So we had the Imperium Nihilus, the whole mass wave of chaos forces and alien forces just dominating the universe. I think what we're going to see in this next stage really is the Xenos starting to have an ascendance. So if you look at Age of Sigmar, we see that Age of Sigmar had the rise of all the different races. Here's the glorious, who there are Golden Boys, the Stormcast Eternals, and then we had like 4 seasons of chaos. We had like 1 or 2 seasons of the undead essentially rising up. That's where we went into Soul Wars, and now I think they're getting geared up for something else. We don't know what. It could be the rise of the beasts. It could be, especially with the Sons of Behemoth coming back or coming out. There could be all sorts of things. Could be, I see what you guys are saying there. Could be look out, Imperial Cultists, Tau 6th Sphere expansion. Well, I think they're still working on the 5th sphere. Uh, but still, it could be as simple as that. It could be very simple stuff like that. But I think we might be getting into, and let me pull up a different graphic here. I was a little busy today. I'm thinking that we could be seeing, the age of the Xenos. Just this might be a 1 or 2 year storyline, but I think that Games Workshop they really pay attention to their analytics. They really pay attention to their sales and everything. So I mean, they have to stay fresh in this business and be so dominating as they are. And as they look at the sudden success of Age of Sigmar, where once they reset the world and they fixed the whole game mechanics, and that he started telling this story and moving the storyline forward, people sunk their teeth into it because it no longer was this 20 years of this game being out there, and people were just basically had to hang on to the same story for 20 years, and that never moved forward. Yes, we knew, like in fantasy, oh look, Archeon is going to invade and he's bringing the hordes of chaos undivided down, blah blah blah, and Kislev is going to fall, and then Prague and all these other places. Is the same story that kept going on, just like Warhammer 40,000. Oh look, the 13th Black Crusade, retcon. Oh look, a 13th Black Crusade, retcon. Oh look, another 13th Black Crusade. And they just kept rinsing and repeating and just kept drawing out that storyline until finally they got to a point where, hey, we're at this point that we've got to innovate. We've got to rethink how we're doing. We got rid of Mr. Kirby and the rest of the people that were kind of keeping the company bogged down into a status quo. Now we're going to make leaps forward. We're going to branch out into all these different multi-markets. But to do this, we also need to move forward storyline-wise to get new people in, and everybody can have a shared experience. So here they are with this new experience, this new thing that's going on. So I think that, yeah, the Emperor could be waking up soon. But right now, we're going to see more bad things happen before something good that something good happens. So, and the Silent King is kind of an indicator. The Silent King and Necrons are probably going to be, or not Necrons, well, the Necrons and Tyranids are probably going to take center stage, with over off onto our right, my right, your left, or my left, your right, however that works, both of our rights. The orcs are going to be off in left field. There we go. Over in left field, doing their own crazy thing, this big wall, and that'll probably be the second half of this storyline that's about ready to kick off. And that's what I'm talking about in point 2. I skipped over point 1. The Indominus Crusade, going to the point 2. The Indominus Crusade is over in the novels. We know that. They've been winding that down. Even, I think one of the last books, Gilliman was like, hey, Indominus Crusade is over. Now it's time to go empire building. We've helped reconnect humanity. The Torchbearer fleets have got the new Primaris Marines out to all the different chapters. Mind you, we might have had to kill a couple chapters we thought were traitors or were traitors, whatnot. Cool, no problem. But there's a lot, our net gain is greater than that loss. So now that that's over, it's time to move on. Just like the Realm Gate Wars was over for Age of Sigmar, and they moved on from there to all the different seasons of the Chaos Rising. I forget what basically the storyline was going into Soul Wars. Now that the 8th edition, the Indominus Crusade, is over, it's time to move on to the next chapter. We've had 2 years of this storyline. We're going to move forward about 150, 250 years. I want to say we're around like 250 years have passed since Gilliman has returned. It could be 150. It's around there. Let's just say 200 just to be on the safe side. So, as I'm saying there in point 2, Age of Xenos, Necrons and Tyranids front and center with orcs in the background. Sorry, Tau, you've already had your heyday. You've gone from 3rd sphere to 5th sphere. You've had it happening. You're not going to be probably front and center. I think Tyranids, Genestealer Cults, Necrons are probably going to be front and center. I mean, those are the two big bads, and there's some indication with the Silent King going, oh crap, what is that? What are these things? Why are they heading to back to my people that I'm trying to save? Let's beat feet back, guys. Let's turn the boat around. Let's get back to our part of the galaxy. Let's start waking up the tombs to fight against the Tyranids. And then he gets back and he's like, huh, who let all these stellar races mature and get to this point? Why wasn't there anybody here to deal with this? Oh wait, the one person that was still awake that could have dealt with this, me. I left to go on some mopey emo boy crusade to be sad about what's happened to my people. So okay, that's my bad, guys. Let's wake up. And I brought some new toys with me, and that's what we saw in that January. If you guys caught that episode on Friday, that January 2020 White Dwarf, where some people are thinking that the Silent King created the Tyranids, which if those people would have continued reading the rest of that White Dwarf, they would have saw that he didn't create them, that he actually came across them, and he was like, oh shit, what is this? That's not good. He didn't create the Tyranids. Now, what they're grasping is that it was indications that he created something very bad, something very hungry. And so we see those new types of Necrons and those hieroglyphic images, and that could be a living, breathing Necron that are hungry for souls, maybe, or hungry for psychic energy, a new type of living creature. And we just saw that and there were some indications, I believe, where he is also the creator of the Flayed Ones, or that Flayed One virus. I have to go back and recheck that little bit of lore, but I'm pretty sure he was the one that created that Necron virus, or the Flayed One virus. And so, if he's the one that did that, or if he's just tinkering, or whatever the combination is, he's created something new that's very horrific. And so imagine, exactly, Dom, could be psychic Necrons. Or what about Necrons that are so horrific that even their own kind considered pariah? Pariah. Think about something so horrific that this Silent King is returning, and he's got some new trick up his sleeve, a new type of Necron or Necrons, and it's so horrifying to their own kind, it's going to even be more horrifying to the rest of us. Could be Necron Tyranid hybrids. They did that in StarCraft with the Protoss Zerg hybrids. That is true. And Nam, to kind of capitalize on that, if you guys are familiar with the Alien franchise and Predators and all that stuff, in the Alien franchise there is a story, and I'll have to go look it up again. I believe it was a novel, could have been like a graphic novel, one of the two, where the Xenos had infected in androids. And then that ended up infecting the electronic systems, like of a space station. There's some of that's not 100%, but they have basically these mechanical living Xenos creatures running rampant throughout the station, or maybe the base, or whatever it was. So it's within theory, it's sci-fi. You can do whatever the F you want. I don't know why I'm looking over there. There's nobody over there except a big painting of a bridge that goes off into the mist. So there's all sorts of possibilities with that, But let me go back to point number one. So one of the stronger points that seem to have some validity is this is 9th edition, and it's going to be pretty much the same. We have a lot of between myself, and not that we've collaborated, but between myself and Chapter Master Valric, who's got a great YouTube site, videos, we've pretty much unintentionally came to the same consensus that all the signs point towards a new edition. Not necessarily a new rule set, but it's a cleanup of our existing rules, because there's been so many FAQs and erratas that have come out. Because Games Workshop was put out a great eighth edition, very awesome, great blueprint, but they kept adding on and adding on and adding on, and not really developing a framework for that. So they now have that overall framework. So it's like, you know what? Let's take all this information that we've got, that we've messed with. Let's patch it back up. Let's clean it up. Let's, copy and paste and restructure and check our spelling, all that jazz. Cross our I's and dot our T's. And then we'll publish this just like we did with Age of Sigmar in Soul Wars. Kept the same rule system, just cleaned it up. And then we put out a new an array of new codec or battle tomes that only feature the newer models, not our old models that we're pushing off into Warhammer Legends, which has been in development for actually longer than what we thought. And just like what Games Workshop said about, and I'm already jumping to a different point 3, we got these new codexes, the Space Marine codexes and their supplements were the next wave of codexes. And that's something that they had already talked about and were promoting, that, hey, we're going to put out new codexes, but it's only going to contain our current line of models, not our old ones. So that's why you don't see chaplains on bikes anymore, that sort of stuff. So it's just one of those processes that they're doing now. They did that was very successful with Age of Sigmar. Now they're going to be doing that with Warhammer 40,000 after this new big surprise that's revealed on Friday or Saturday happens. Which, by the way, we will be doing a live show 8 a.m. Central Time, BST, 2 p.m. BST, carry the 1, divide by 3. Yeah, so 8 a.m. Central Time. I'm pretty sure it's 8 a.m. Central Time here. We will be doing a live reaction show to them doing their live broadcast. At any rate, going back to point 1, hopefully I can stay there. This new thing will be a new box set, and there'll be Necrons versus Space Marines. And coming on the heels of that will probably be a Necron Codex almost instantly, probably within the same month or just the month after. And that's going to include new models, probably those big hulking Primaris Necrons that are not Primaris Necrons, but everything now, anything that's new and an improvement upon an existing model is now just going to be considered Primaris, because people just can't accept change. And so they're going to just kind of be poopy pants about it. I mean, I can just see it now. Eldar are going to get like new, or not Howling Banshees, but, they did. They're going to get new Dark Reapers. And people are going to be like, oh, you mean Primaris Reapers. Coined that here first. You heard it here first. Primaris Reapers. God, that hurts even just saying it. It hurts my soul a little bit. Just thinking about the silliness. And I mean, everybody's entitled to their beliefs and their fandom and all that stuff. Even the guys that have the fandom about Fulgrim and Ferrus Manus having a more than brotherly love connection. Look, they were into each other. They were doing all sorts of things. Nam said Primaris Fire Warriors, reset the clock. Anyways, so this finally might kind of shed a little bit of light on some of those new Primaris Space Marine models that we've seen very heavily pixelated pictures of. Whether those were true or not, and it's very likely they were true, the Primaris Space Marine bikes and that new grav repulsor speeder open top thing that we saw that could be like a new like a Primaris scout bus, which is really kind of what the Impulsor is, but maybe a different one, because it looked like it had these big missile pods on the back and different wings and everything. Could be a flyer of some sort. And the rumored Primaris Space Marine dedicated close combat units. Yes, you have aggressors and kind of reavers, but those aren't really dedicated for close combat. So these ones would be like an assault squad. And that's one of the things that they are really missing is a dedicated close combat unit. So it's only a matter of time before that comes out. That's probably where we're going to be seeing that in is that box set. And that box set could be another signifier that Games Workshop is capitalizing on the success of Age of Sigmar, which I've talked about on the show before. Is that Age of Sigmar, I mean, look at last year. We had Carrion Empire. I'm going to try to remember them all. Loon Curse and Feast of Bone. I believe so. And at each of those, you got two armies with 2 battle tomes for a battle tome for each, set of War Scroll cards, set of not psychic powers, but what do they call those things? They're big, massive, creepy, weird spells. Endless spells. The endless spells, and usually inside those boxes were 2 exclusive miniatures that you could not get for about another 6 to 9 months. And then, so we saw that with Carrion Empire, which was the Flesh Eater Courts, and oh goodness, who did they fight? I cannot remember who they fought. Gosh darn it. Maybe somebody will remember who they fought in the Carrion Empire. And then we had the Loon Curse, which was the Sylvaneth and the Gloomspite Gits, which that box ridiculously sold out. They estimated how popular it was going to be. They did the same thing with Feast of Bone, which was the brand new race, kind of a beefier fantasy Necron. And I'm telling you, take a look at the Osiarch Bone Reapers. You'll see what I'm talking about. And, of course, versus the Maw tribes, which were the Ogres. And those were so successful. Those sold out within a day. The Loon Curse sold out within the first few hours. So, Carrion Empire was Flesh Eater Courts and Skaven. Skaven, yes. Thank you very much. That saw the rise of the Skaven being incredibly powerful in Age of Sigmar. So those box sets were selling out because people wanted not only to start those new armies, but they got those exclusive miniatures, and they got brand new battle tomes at the start, which we could be getting brand new miniatures for Necrons and Space Marines, 2 very popular armies. One is just underplayed because has not been good. It's missing certain elements, Necrons and Space Marines, which are the bread and butter of Games Workshop and their Warhammer 40,000 line. Hey, here's some new units for both. Space Marines, you already got your codexes and your supplements that are amazing, even after all the FAQs and errata we did. Necrons, dude, here you guys go. We're going to hand this to you on a silver platter, brand new codex with brand new models, and you are on par with Space Marines now. Congratulations. We're going to pat you on the butt, send you on your way. And they're going to sell out of that so quick. Shadow Spear came out last year as well, and it took a while to sell down, but it was initially people were buying, 3 or 4 boxes. Maybe somebody bought 4 boxes for all the Space Marines, and just so he could start a brand new Space Marine army. I'm not saying I did it, but there might have been somebody who's done it. So that model, that business model that they have done is so successful for Age of Sigmar, and has had somewhat success with games with Warhammer 40,000, with the exception of Blood of the Phoenix. It was a little too pricey, $210 for not a whole lot. It was not the best deal, and even the miniatures in there, you weren't even able to construct an effective detachment. There's a lot of issues with that. So if they could dial that back, drop it down to that 160 range where people have no problem dropping 160 or even 320 to split 2 boxes with somebody, Games Workshop has something that they can capitalize on. So that is probably what we're going to see. May 23rd might not be a product release, it's probably going to be a major announcement. We're going to see some pictures. We're going to get an idea of what's coming, but I don't think we're going to get a product release. Some people are thinking, oh, the Silent King is going to be released, or they're going to give us a release date for the Silent King. Some people think it's going to be a release date for Pariah, or this whole thing's about Pariah. At the end of the day, ladies and gents, none of us know. None of us. And when there's some of us, I'm not including myself. I'm including myself. There's some people that have better contacts because they're literally across the pond and they're right down the road, and they sometimes go to the pub or hang out with these actual members of the staff, so they know. And they don't even, I mean, they would normally know stuff like this, but they don't even know. So it's really, if anybody says that they do know 100%, until you see pics, no pic, no proof. So let me get back to my list here. So box set covered, storyline covered, new codexes. We know that that's happening. We knew that was happening no matter what. And then, so the 1 edition to rule them all, just like Age of Sigmar, 8th edition is such a good rule set. They've got a good, and after all the cleanups, it's a very good rule set. So going forward, they can now that they've seen how this works, how the community works with this new rule set, they can move forward with a lot more balance, just like we saw with Age of Sigmar. Age of Sigmar, with that after Soul Wars, had a lot of solid balance. Yes, there's some armies that perform better against some armies. You're never gonna, if you want a fully balanced game system, hate to say it, but you got to go play chess or checkers, one of those two. Maybe play spades or hearts, or I don't know, pinochle. Or you know what? That's a good example, Nam. Or go play Marvel Crisis Protocol. You want a game that's balanced and that is designed for competitive play, then go play Marvel Crisis Protocol. You are missing out. We've already figured that you have essentially like 30 some odd thousand possible combinations of teams that you could do. Not to mention all the different special action cards. So if you guys are competitive, as I digress here, you love competitions, you love playing miniature games, Marvel Crisis Protocol is the way to go. I can't stress that enough. Anyways, so coming back to number 4, that 1 edition to rule them all, I think this edition is going to last a while. Just like we're seeing with Age of Sigmar, we're going to see with Warhammer 40,000, their new rule set from 8th edition. They're going to carry it over probably for a while because it is solid. It's fast, easy, and very enjoyable, still tactically sound. It tickles everybody's fancy. It was so popular that, and it's so well written, that so many people that have given up Warhammer 40,000 since 4th and 5th edition came back, and there was this huge resurgence. So they're going to keep capitalizing on this edition. They're just going to clean it up. There is talks about, and we've been hearing this, the endless psychic powers. We have no idea if that's going to happen. It makes sense because that worked very well for Age of Sigmar. The endless spells, it worked well for them. I mean, almost it's a great equalizer for every army, and it's an awesome random element that you can put into the game. So we might see something like that. I could see them doing that because it sells models. And at the end of the day, a lot of people forget that Games Workshop is a model company. They make the best models in the world and sell them globally at a profit. That's a quote that's a company line here. Oh, hey, Houston Buccaneer. Great. We've been just waiting for like 40 minutes for you to get on, and now we're going to go ahead and start the show. But they thank you for gracing us with your presence. So that's a company line that they make the best models in the world and they sell them globally at a profit. And that's what a lot of people forget, is that they are not a game company. They're a model company. They make miniatures, and then they create a game system so you have something to do with your miniatures. But their goal is to make miniatures and sell them to you. And hey, just so you can have some fun, here's a game to go along with it. The game is secondary, which means that the people that, whether you're a narrative player or a competitive player, a casual player, your thoughts of this being a very important game, it's still valid from your own point of view. But for Games Workshop, their point is that they're trying to make the best models possible and get you to buy them, and the game is secondary to them. And the tournament players, God, I love you guys because I'm a tournament player too. You guys are like third in line in relation to their level of importance in regarding their product. I think you guys are very important because you guys find a lot of the errors in the rules very awesome, that you guys are able to piece that together through trial and error, and they really need to up their pool for playtesting. But in the scheme of things, and it's not an insult, but models is what making the models, that's what they sell the most of. They don't sell that many books, they sell models, and then after that are the rules, and then from the rules, competitive players, you're after that. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. How profitable are miniatures? I'm guessing very based on how many new games offer tons of them. Oh, yeah. You take a look at Hughes and Buccaneer makes a good point. Look how many miniature games have spawned in the past since 8th edition rolled out. Since 8th edition rolled out, so many companies have jumped on that bandwagon. Hell, even 7th edition Warhammer 40,000, when it was like it was ridiculous. Because they were putting out hey, here's a free data sheet, and if you fill this data sheet, if you get all these units that normally you would never, ever, ever buy because you don't like the way they look or they're not very powerful, but we gave you this free data sheet in this White Dwarf magazine that you bought that makes these guys all special if you have all these guys together, like Captain Planet. By our powers combined, we are Captain Planet or whatever, or Voltron. You get all these different army components, and you get this really powerful formation. And that sold so many models. As mind-bogglingly difficult it was to play the game during 7th edition, sales-wise, we were seeing models that nobody cared about just selling like hotcake just because of a formation made them good. Finally, and other companies capitalize on it. You look at a lot of Cool Mini or Not Kickstarters, or even their board games. Zombicide, like 4 different types of Zombicide. All the Super Dungeon Explorer. There's so many to think about. Small startup games like Blood and Plunder, and all the Napoleonics had a huge surge in popularity. Team Yankee Bolt Action got a big surge. Let's see here. Kings of War. I mean, just just crazy how big miniature companies became now. And now you can barely find a board game now on Kickstarter or showing up in your local game store that don't include miniatures, because people want the miniatures. The game is secondary most of the time because the miniatures are so awesome. People like to collect the miniatures. And that's where Games Workshop that's what they're trying to sell. I think I got way off track there, but essentially what I want to say is that that's what people are going for. So these box sets that Games Workshop has put out with the dual armies is where a lot of focus is going, I think, in the future. And then since it works so well with Age of Sigmar, Warhammer 40,000 is going to probably follow that same model. Now, then once this happens, we'll see some future updates. Pretty much like we are once they get through all the new codexes with all the new models. Let's see here. Houston Buccaneer says, and all the new board game, war game hybrids, like Folklore, Mythic. Oh, and that Joan of Arc. Yeah. I mean, hell, just look at, you have games like Kingdom Death. If you guys have never seen Kingdom Death, Google that later. And if you're at work, it's not safe for work. So don't look at it at work. Kingdom Death is a grisly, dark, awesome, amazing game. And the other, one of the backers, the super backers that he gets everything. He showed me a picture of a work in progress, and it was probably one of the most disturbing miniatures of theirs that they have ever made. I still can visualize this one part of the model that is so disgusting. I don't even know. I'm going to find out if I can share it. And if I can, on Wednesday's show, I'll share it. Just remember, don't have your kids around, and it's not safe for work. So you might have to watch it later. Yes, exactly what Houston Buccaneer said. Those miniatures will cause nightmares. They are very, very scary. So long story short is that going back to this right here, looking at that announcement window, it's very likely that what we're going to see this Saturday. Grandpa Strange, it is here. I'll just type it in here. Kingdom Death. It's a very disturbing game. If you're able to ever get your hands on a copy of it, it is worth the money. They are very hard to get. Very disturbing game, and very lethal. But I'll talk about that in a second. So looking at the original release announcements, the announcements and the release dates of all the different editions since 5th, there's about a 2 to 3 year gap, and we always see that announcement for the new edition. And it has been 3 years since the last edition, which was 3 years before the previous one, 2 years before that, 4 years before that. Reason why May is a good month to announce is that, hey guys, we got something awesome coming for starting their next fiscal year. So Games Workshop fiscal year starts in June and ends in May. I don't know if that's like that for everybody out there, because I think the US side, our first quarter is January to March. But their first quarter is June to August. So how do you start off your brand new year? You put out something amazing in the summertime. So that's probably what this is. I seriously doubt it's something like Pariah, something that we already knew what models were coming out. We already knew the book was coming out. I don't think it's that announcement. And a lot of the other commentators online were all in silent agreement. Because we don't all communicate. I accidentally left a Discord chat where some of us were in, and I don't know how to get back into it, and nobody's responding to my messages. So I'm like, anyways, so I kind of dragged that on way longer than I intended. So now I got Houston Buccaneer. I've talked to him the other day. I'm still need to finish doing the not Imperial Gothic, Colonial Gothic RPG review. I've been knee deep in working on the RPG that I've talked about here on the show, and I just got through doing a lot. I've watched so many videos on epigenetics, helicells, and quantum entanglement theories. And quantum mechanics over this weekend. My brain is really fried, so I'm probably going to take today off from doing stuff like that. But I am wanting to get back to I need to get back to doing those RPG reviews, and Colonial Gothic is the next slated one. I've got all my images done. I've just trying to make a pre-recorded show, and I'm waiting for a friend of mine to get back into town so I can say, hey, come over. Let's figure out how to do this, or show me how to do this so I can input creepy music and visual effects and everything into it. It's maybe my first time really doing a higher production value show, and it'll be my first pre-recorded show, if you will. But I wanted to kick that off with Colonial Gothic because I think it would just be perfect. In regards to the RPG that I've been working on, I just spoke to somebody yesterday. We did a live chat. Talking about how to get all the artwork, who to reach out to. I just sent some preliminary stuff to them. They've actually sent back a banner, which I wanted to reveal to you guys, but I realized that if I reveal the banner, if I reveal the title and everything, right now and launch my Facebook page with nothing but just that banner and just a little bit of snippet, no real solid press release or a video or anything or any artwork, I'm really kind of shooting myself in the foot. So this week is going to be spent prepping artwork, my view of how I want the artwork done, then reaching out to a number of these artists and then doing I forgot what the terminology is, basically an art test, and going, hey, this is what I want you guys to do, and whoever has the best artwork is probably going to be the person that's going to be hired, if it fits within the aesthetic that I'm going for. So, cross my fingers on that. I've got 3 artists kind of lined up, possibly a 4th. I don't know what their plate is like, but the point being is that we got a lot of work set up for this RPG that I've been working on for about 9 months now. And I'm 150 pages into about a 350, maybe 400 page book. So a lot of stuff happening. So anyways, so hopefully I'll know by Wednesday morning when I do the Wednesday morning show if I'm going to be doing the Colonial Gothic review on Wednesday night. I would like to be able to launch it Wednesday night on YouTube. All right, I have talked your ears off way too long. I'm hoping you guys got something out of the whole 5th edition breakdown, or not 5th edition, but 9th edition breakdown for Warhammer 40,000. I know it's a lot of information and it's a lot of rumors and speculation, and that's all we have to go on. All of our, as I talked to members of the FN Pro team the other day, is that all of our sources, they've been essentially out of work. They have not been at the office where they can look over people's shoulders or see the information passed back and forth. They can't relate us any information that they're not seeing that they normally would. So, they can't walk around to the different cubicles and take a peek in and see what the art guys are working on or anything, do screenshots and whatnot. We can't get that information if they're not there. So we've had to do a lot of speculating based on limited information. So I'm hoping all this pans out. And if as soon as I get some more information, I will sure as hell put it in the next show, which will be Wednesday morning. We might do a paint show tonight. Maybe. What is today? Monday? I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I do a paint show tonight? Maybe at 7 p.m.? Maybe I should. Grandpa Strange says, yes, I should do a 7 p.m. paint show. Okay. I'm so easily convinced. Also because I'm so bored and I need to take a break from writing. I did like 15,000 words over the weekend and created like 4 horrifying creatures for the RPG, and I need a break from writing. So yeah, we're gonna paint tonight. I've got a couple fantasy models. So I know, and I never got a chance to show Houston Buccaneer some of the paint schemes that he was looking for. So I'll have to have him. Maybe I don't. He doesn't have to. I can probably go look back in our text chat, see what the cloth stuff that he wanted to get done. I've got a couple models that are just wearing cloth or clothing, uniforms and such. We can work on that, and I'll find something else that we'll work on. Something spectacular or really tacky. Yes, we do need to play some par 3 golf. I need to make you look good because we know that I'm not very good at golf unless I can have 1 beer and then I'm good. 2 beers and I can usually hit the ball straight, by the way. That's legit science, ladies and gentlemen. When I play golf, if I don't have a beer, I slice to the right. If I have over 2 beers, I slice to the left. If I have 2 beers and no more, I'm right down the middle. That is every time I play golf. I kid you not. Okay, good. He's going to help me tune it. Anyways, ladies and gents, I really appreciate you guys watching. I know it's Monday. I'm hoping you guys are being safe. You guys are being smart about everything. I know it's a really crappy time that we're all going through. Whether it's all legit or if it's government conspiracy, or if it's not as bad, or if it's is bad as bad. Doesn't matter. It's happening. So just be smart, be safe, and oh yeah, we have to get some practice in for a charity tournament at the end of July. Cool. Well, that's good, Grandpa Strange. If you're licking your hands before you touch a door, that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. At least you're not licking them after you touch a door handle. That would be bad. I would be worried about you. All right. Well, the end of July is a charity tournament. Well, I'll tell you what, Houston Buccaneer, if you want me to be on in that charity tournament, put me on at the team that you want to lose. Let's just put it that way. Don't put me on the team if you want to win. Find me a team that you need to like severely handicap, and I'll be on that team. I know it's all for charity, but if you got somebody that's really good, then yeah, that's the one you want me on. I'll bring down their average. I'll bring it way down. Anyways, you guys have yourself a wonderful day. I will see you tonight, 7 p.m. We're going to go over some painting of some cloth for uniforms. The best, I'm going to try to get the miniature as close as possible to what Houston Buccaneer was talking about, at least clothing wise. And then I'm going to find something else, something tacky, something that we're going to be going super bright and colorful and anime like maybe. And we're just going to have fun with colors. We're just going to have some fun experimenting with colors. I'll see you later, Grandpa Strange. Everybody, thank you again. This video will be up on YouTube. If you want to go on YouTube in about a half hour, like it, leave a comment if you don't mind. I will see you guys tonight at 7 p.m. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.